So hello everyone, we are back again with our latest video on SQL tutorial Ebikacho by Ebikacho Groups. So basically in this particular video, we are going to discuss everything you need to know about subqueries in SQL Server. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide and check what are subqueries. So basically what are subqueries? So a subquery in SQL Server is a query nested inside another SQL query. Okay, so the subquery provides data that the main query or the outer query can use often as a filter or a computed value. So subqueries are enclosed in a parenthesis. So basically this is the property of subquery, that it need to be enclosed into the parenthesis. Outside parenthesis it will not exist. Okay. So here in the example you can see we have a outer query, or the main query is also called as the outer query, and which is filtering its salary record using a subquery or the inner query. Okay, now let's move on and check what are the types of subqueries in SQL Server. So basically SQL Server subqueries can be categorized into multiple types. Like we have the single row subquery, which return a single row with a single column. We have a multi-row subquery which return multiple rows with a single column. Okay, now we have a correlated subquery. So a correlated subquery is a subquery that refers to columns of the outer query. Okay, and it is re-evaluated for each row processed by the main query. Okay, now we have the nested query. So a subquery within another subquery is the nested subquery. Okay, then we have the exist subquery. So exist subquery is used with the exist clause to check for the existence of rows. Okay, and after that we have the scalar subquery, which return a single value or a scalar value we can mention. So now let's move on to the next slide and mention each of these subqueries in detail with practical examples. Okay, so first of all, we have the single row subquery. So what a single row subquery will do? A single row subquery is a type of subquery in SQL that returns only one row of data as a result. Okay. It is often used in conjunction with comparison operators like equals to, less than, greater than, less than equals to, greater than equals to, and not equal to in the main query to filter or compare data. So basically the single row subquery are used with these operators with the main query to filter the records of the main query. So what is a note here? So the subquery must return exactly one row, otherwise it will result in an error. Okay. So if a subquery, single row subquery will not provide a single row as a result, then it will throw us the error. So here in the example you can see what we have. So here we are finding out the name of the employee, where the salary is equals to the maximum salary of the employees in IT department. Okay, so this max salary will provide us a single row value, the max salary of IT department. Okay, now let's move on to SSMS and check it in practical. So here we have already created the tables for the subqueries in our SQL tutorial Ebikacho database, and if you need these tables, then you can either scan this code and join our Telegram channel, or you will get the Telegram channel link on our channel description. So from there also you can join for the data sets. Okay, so data sets we are going to provide there only. Okay, now move on to SSMS and check further. So here for each of the subqueries we have the table created, and now for single row subquery we have the employees table. Execute top 1000 rows first. So here we have the employee ID, name, department, and salary. Now let's find out the salary, the salary of the employee which is maximum in IT department. So here we have for IT department we have two records, Bob and Dinah, and Dinah has the maximum salary. So we will get Dinah as our output. Now check the working of this. So select name, select from employee single row. So I am writing the table name first, because by that the intelligence will provide us the column name directly. Okay. So now if you mention the column name, select name. So see, the intelligence is suggesting us the name also. Name from employees single row, where salary is equals to, now we the subquery part in parenthesis. So salary equals to select max salary from our table. Okay, where department is equal to IT, where department equals to IT, not here, here department equals to IT. Okay, now execute the subquery first so that we will check how much record it is returning to us. So see, only single row it is returning, that we have discussed in the theory. Now execute whole of them. So here we are getting the name of the employee, which is Dinah. Now let's move on to the next subquery. So after single row subquery, we have the multi-row subquery. So what a multi-row subquery will do? So a multi-row subquery is a type of subquery in SQL that returns more than one row of data as a result. Okay, so multi-row subquery will return more than one row as its result. So these subqueries are often used with operators like in, any, all, or exist in the main query to compare or filter data based on the multiple values. So basically it means multi-row subquery can be used to compare two tables also. Like if you have some common column in both of the tables and you want to know about which of the data is not available in one table and available in another table. So in that scenarios you can use this multi-row subquery option also. And there is a note also. So the inner query can return more than one row. Okay. So here in this example, what we are doing, we are finding out the name of the employee in where the department is in the departments where the salary is greater than 60,000. Now let's move on to SSMS and check the working of multi-row subquery also. So for multi-row subquery, we have a project table here. So where we are getting project ID, project name, manager, and budget. Now let's take a scenario like where we need to find out the name of the managers whose budget is greater than that of a let's take project delta. Okay, project delta budget. So how we will find it out? Now let's see. So select from project multi-row. Okay, and then we need to find out the manager name, manager from project multi-row, where where budget budget where budget is greater than. So all the records from that project delta project we will check. So first of all we will write like budget is greater than all. So as we have discussed, it is used with all, any, or in operator we can use the multi-row subquery. So now write like select budget. Subqueries are means easy things also you can say, but these are very useful for means breaking down complex queries and making it more readable and more easy for working. Okay, so this we can achieve from other queries also, but subqueries are making them very easy. So you can easily understand like you need to apply just the budget greater than all, select budget from, like that. So simple means step it will break the queries. Okay, select budget from project multi-row table where project name like project name where project name equals to project delta. Okay, so we will find out which all the managers who has their projects budget greater than the project delta. So here we can see in the table we have almost all other than the project delta projects. We have all the projects which have budget greater than that of project delta. Okay, so we will receive around 1 2 3 4 and 5 records. So first of all execute the subquery separately and check how many rows it is returning in the output. So see here it is returning multiple rows, means more than one row. So multi-row subquery. Okay, now execute this and check which all manager have the greater budget than project delta. So Alice, Bob, Charlie, Edward. Other than this two, all the other project managers. Okay, Alice, Bob, Charlie, and Edward. So this is also clear. Now move on to the next one. So after multi-row subquery, what we have? We have the correlated subquery. So this is also very important. Correlated subquery will be asked in interviews also. So be patient on this one. So a correlated subquery is a subquery that depends on the values from the outer query to produce its result. Okay, so basically correlated subqueries are dependent on the outer query. It is not independent, it is dependent on the outer query. Okay, so unlike standalone subqueries, a correlated subquery is executed repeatedly once for each row processed by the outer query. Okay, so it works by referencing one or more columns in the outer query, creating a relationship between the two queries. So basically the correlated subquery will create a relation between the outer query and the inner query. Okay, without using the inner outer query results, it will not implement. Okay, now what we have the note. So correlated subqueries allow dynamic comparison and filtering based on data for related rows. So here in the example, you can also see here we have one sales table where we are finding out the name of the customers, where quantity is greater than the average quantity of average quantity of sales from the sales table, where the product of the inner query is equal to the product of the outer query. So basically it is trying to tell that the customer name from the for the customers who have purchased more quantity than the average quantity of all customer for the same product. Okay, so that is why we have this condition where inner sales product is equal to outer sales product. Okay, now let's move on to SSMS and check the working of correlated subquery also. So for correlated subquery, we have already created the sales table where it is. So DBO sales correlated. Okay, now first select top 1000 rows. So here we have the sales ID, customer name, product name, and then quantity, and then we have the unit price. So first of all, let's take the average of each of the product based on average of each of the quantity of product based on product. Okay, so first select average of quantity quantity from the table sales correlated. I will explain this. One second. Average of quantity and product based on product. So product, and then group the results by product. Group by product. Okay. Now execute this. So the average for each product is like this. So for headphone it's 5, laptop it's 1, and smartphone it's 2. Now what we need to find out? We need to find out the name of the customer who have purchased more quantity than average quantity of all customer for the same product. So for each of the product who have bought the quantity greater than the average quantity, that we need to find out. So now put this inside a subquery and then create a outer query for this. Remove this product and then we will use the outer query. So first of all, for correlated, it will be referring the data from the outer query. So select customer name from sales correlated, alias it as A, that outer query, where QA and TITY quantity is greater than, quantity should be greater than the average quantity for that product, that particular product. So select average quantity from sales, where, so alias this as B, where A dot product name, A dot product equals to B dot product. Okay, so see here the this subquery is referencing the outer query itself. Okay, now execute this. Now we will get the name. So Alice and Bob, and also we can check the quantity also, how much they are buying, comma QANTITY quantity, control R. Now execute this, and one place we will put the subquery result also, so that it will give us a clear idea. Okay, now comma the product sorry, comma the product, and then group our result by product, group by product. So here, now execute both of them at once, then we will get a clear picture of our result set. Okay, so see here, so Alice and Bob we are getting in output, and the average for Alice and Bob, what product they are finding out, the product also we will mention here, product. Okay, now execute again. So see here, what are the records? Alice is buying laptop, and the average of laptop is 1, and the and Alice is buying 2. So it is greater than quantity of quantity bought by Alice is greater than the average quantity for that product, means laptop. And for Bob is buying the quantity 3 for his smartphone, and the average for his smartphone is 2. Okay, and headphone it is 5. So headphone, let's check the result for headphone. So see here, headphone, only Dinah has the headphone, and she has bought 5 quantities, and the average for this is also 5, which is not greater than the value she has bought. So this is result is not coming. Okay, so correlated is clear to everyone. Basically correlated is referring the outer query for its result set. The main agenda for correlated is that only. Now move on to the next subquery. So after correlated, we have the nested subquery, subquery inside the subquery. So what the nested subquery will do? So a nested subquery is a subquery that is embedded within another subquery or query. Okay, so it is essentially a subquery within another subquery, allowing for deeper and more complex filtering or comparisons. Okay, so basically by using this nested subquery, we can perform a more complex filtering. Okay, because it is performing like query inside the subquery inside the subquery. So like that. So nested subqueries help handle intricate queries by breaking down the problem into smaller steps, starting with the innermost subquery and working outward. Okay, so basically in these cases, when we are applying the subqueries, so the subqueries are executing first, and after that the main queries are executing. So in the nested subquery, first the innermost will execute first, then the outermost, then the outermost, and then the outermost. Like that it will work. Okay, so here in this example, what we are getting? So here we are finding out the customer name. Okay, who has quantity equals to the maximum quantity from the orders table, where product is equals to the highest quantity across all the customer. Okay, so this is clear. Now move on to SSMS and check the working of this particular query. So here what we have, move to SSMS. So for nested subquery, we have the table nested orders nested table. Okay, now let's take the example, like here in order nested table we have the same records like that of the orders table. So here we need to find out like the customer name who has placed an order with the maximum quantity. Okay, maximum quantity order it is paying for the product category that has the highest overall quantity across the customer. Okay, so which product has the highest quantity? First we will find out that. So for that, what we need to do, select sum of product from our order table, and product name we will also take sum of quantity, na sum of quantity, sum of quantity, sum of quantity, comma the product we will take, copy it from here, product, and then order by product. Okay, now first execute and check which product has the highest quantity. So order by what a order nested is invalid in select list because it is not created. So product for, okay, so group by we need to put for product as it is not contained in the aggregate function. Okay, So group by these things we have already discussed in our previous videos, so you can go and check our channel and you will find out these group by logics and all explained clearly. Okay, here OUP group by product. Okay, now execute this. So here you can see headphone, laptop and a smartphone. So a smartphone and headphone have the maximum maximum that value quantity, maximum quantity bought. Okay, now move on and check. So maximum quantity is for headphone and smartphone. Now execute this result. Now we need to find out the maximum quantity. So from here also we can analyze the maximum quantity, and then we need to find out the name of the customer who has bought the maximum quantity. Okay. Now, so how to put it inside a nested query? Write our final query for this. So select customer name from the table name. First we will mention so that we will get the intelligence. Select customer name from order nested table, where, so we need to find out the quantity equals to, where quantity equals to, then our subquery will come which will find out the maximum quantity. So select max quantity, one second, copy this. Select max quantity from orders table, okay, where we need to find out the maximum product which has been bought. Okay, so where product equals to, then our again the nested subquery will start from here, where product equals to select product from our table name, then we can mention like group by sum of quantity, no, not the group by product wise grouping we need, because quantity will come in the aggregate function. So grouping we need for the product, and then order it by sum of product, sum of quantity, order by sum of quantity, QANTI order sum of quantity descending, SC quantity order by. Okay, so I think this is clear to everyone. Okay, and top one record we don't want the duplicate records. Okay, because single record it should send to us. Okay, now close the subquery, first subquery, and then the second subquery. Okay, so here you can see what we are doing. We are first finding out the top one product who has the maximum quantity. So here we have seen two of our products have the maximum quantity, headphone and smartphone. So here we are taking the top one record and ordering by sum descending, so that we will get the single record. Okay, and then we are finding out the maximum quantity from that particular for that particular product. Okay, maximum quantity, what is the maximum quantity for that particular product, and then at the above first query, the outermost query, we are finding out the customer name which has these particular quantities. Okay, now execute this and check our result, what we are getting. So here we are getting Dyna. Okay, so Dyna has bought almost the maximum quantity. So here you can see in the result Dinah has bought the 5 quantity, which is the maximum among each of the customers. Okay, so I think nested query is also clear to everyone. Now move on to the next one. So after nested subquery, what we have? Nested subquery, we have the exist subquery. So exist subquery is going to be used by you in even interviews, and also while you are working, you can use lot and lot of use cases for exist subqueries. So means check this out very clearly. So what the exist subquery will do? So an exist subquery is used in SQL to test the existence of rows in the result set returned by the subquery. Okay, so the key aspect of an exist subquery is that it does not return any data to the outer query. Instead, it returns a boolean value, true or false, based on whether the subquery produces any rows. Okay, so basically exist is used to verify, like, if our record set, that result set that we are finding out, is available in that particular result set or not, is available in the subquery or not. So basically the subquery, exist subquery, will not provide any output. So it will just check and provide the boolean value like true. It is, if it is true, then it will provide you the output. Otherwise, if it is false, then it will not provide the output. Or if the particular value is available in that particular exist statement, then it will provide you the value. Otherwise, it will not provide you the value. So like that it will work. So okay, so this type of subquery is often used for filtering data based on conditions in related table or data sets. So here you can see, here we have a customer table, and here what we are checking, we are checking the customer name, where exist, select one, order from, customer id equals to customer id, where quantity is greater than 2. So we are checking the customer names who have bought more greater than 2 quantities in the order table. Okay, so now move on to ssms and check the example for this, then it will be much clearer to you. Okay, so for exist we have this customer table also. So here we have the customer ID and customer name, and we have the orders table also. So here we will get the detail about the order table, like order ID, customer ID is the foreign key, and here the customer ID is the primary key in the customer exist table. So we have already discussed this primary key and foreign key in our constraint video. So you can go and check. There we have mentioned it very clearly. Okay. Now we have the product here and the quantity bought for the order. Okay, so now what we need to find out, we need to find out if a particular product, if a particular customer has bought more than 2 quantities or not. Okay, so write down this particular query here. So select customer name, we will take from the customer table, customer from, now copy the table name from here, customer exist. Okay, so here we have the name like customer name, select customer name from customer exist table, where exists exists, where exists. So what need to be existed? So select, alias this as a, select one from orders, select one from order exist table, b, alias this as b. So basically unique key you must need in this particular exist statement, on which you will keep your condition. So here our unique keys, both places is customer id. Customer id is the matching key, means not unique key, means foreign key, primary key relationship you need here to basically it is working like a join kind of. You are getting this from the query itself, like order where a dot customer id equals to b dot customer id, and a dot custom, where a dot customer id equals to b dot customer id, and so and b dot quantity, and ti quantity greater than 2. Okay, And also one thing to note, like exist is very much like important for performance perspective also. Basically, instead of using in, if you can replace this with exist, then it will enhance your query performance by very much. Okay, so try to use exist when you are you can be able to replace it from the in operator. So in operator, replace the in operator with exist when you can. Okay, so now execute this and we will check if the customer has bought two quantities or not, means more than two quantities or not. So first check how many customers have done like that. So order exist. So here you can see customer ID 2 has bought 3 quantity and customer ID 4 has bought 4 quantity. So two rows will come as our output. Now execute this query. So see, Bob and Dinah have bought more than two quantities. Okay, so this is clear. Exist subquery is also clear to everyone. Now let's move on to the next subquery. So after exist, what we have the last one, which is scalar subquery. So a scalar subquery is a type of subquery that returns a single value as its result. This single value can be used in expressions or directly compared in the outer query. Okay, so scalar subqueries are most commonly found in the select, where and having clauses. Okay, so this is clear. Now from the below example, what we can see, like we have a select scalar subquery which is used with the select statement. So what we are selecting, we are selecting the customer name from the orders table, and also we are finding out the average of quantity from the orders table using the subquery. Okay, using the scalar subquery. Now let's move on to SSMS and check the working of this scalar subquery also. So for scalar subquery, we have the tables like orders table for scalar. Now here you can see we have the same thing, same data like order ID, customer name, product, quantity, and order date. Now execute this. So what we need to find out? We need to find out the customer name along with the average of this average of quantity throughout the table. Okay. So how we will achieve this? So select using a scalar subquery. So select, do the select from this order scalar. So in this case, our subquery is getting used as a column value. Okay, so select customer name along with the average we want. So you can mention in the parenthesis select average of quantity, put a comma here, average of quantity from our orders table. Okay, and give it a alias for the column name as avg underscore, like mention the alias as avg underscore value, average value from our orders table. Okay, so see here the subquery is working as a uh, column value. Okay, and it will provide each of the value for each of the columns and the average quantity. Okay, so this particular is the scalar subquery. Now execute this and check our results. So see, for each of the records customer names, it is providing the average quantity. So I think this is clear to everyone, and this is the end of scalar this is the end of subqueries. And there are some points that we can discuss for the subqueries, which are important points to be noted. So use case of subqueries, when we are going to use the subqueries. So on filter perspective, filtering the data. So using subqueries in where in or exist clause for advanced filtering. So we can use the subqueries for advanced filtering along with the where in and exist clause. Okay, and dynamic calculation. Second one is the dynamic calculation. So generating derived values dynamically in the queries. Okay, so basically using the subqueries, we can also derive some columns dynamically, like that we have done for the last one scalar value. We have found out the average dynamically, which is generating for each of the rows. Okay, and now the third one we take as hierarchical relationship. So fetching parent child relationship efficiently. Okay, so basically it will perform a parent child relationship efficiently. Now correlated analysis, performing comparison within groups or categories. Okay. Now, what is the benefits of using subqueries? Now, the benefit is readability. Subqueries can make SQL queries more intuitive by encapsulating logics. Okay. So basically means it will break into multiple queries and make the complex queries look more readable and more comfortable to use. Okay. So reusability can avoid duplicating calculations. So we can use the subqueries again and again. And flexibility, so allow breaking down complex query into smaller manageable pieces. Okay, so this is clear as we have seen in the examples that how manageable the subqueries are. And then the last one is the encapsulation. So subqueries can isolate portions of logics, improving query clarity. Okay, so the query will be more clarified using the subqueries. Okay, so this is the end of the subqueries, and this is the as much as you know about subqueries. And more practice, for practicing we will provide the questions after this particular session. Also we will load some questions on subqueries that are important for interview perspective. And if you need all the data sets and scripts, you can join our Telegram channel also. There we are going to upload all the data, these tables and all we will upload there. From there you can fetch the data. And thank you for watching, and do like, share and subscribe. Many more videos are on the way. And as we have discussed in our previous videos also, that we are planning for a master series on SQL Server that is going to be released once we are achieving our milestone of 500 subscribers, so that more and more people will be benefit from that particular full course and complete explanation. So that will contain around 300 to 400 videos, and it will be complete SQL Server video. Okay, so thank you for watching. Keep watching, like, share and subscribe. Thank you everyone. Thank you.